Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. I want you to hear this today. God has not forgotten you. Even when life feels heavy, when doors stay closed, when prayers seem unanswered, and when the world tells you that your story is over, God has not forgotten you. Sometimes we feel abandoned because we are focused on what we cannot see. But the truth is, God's timing is perfect. His plans are unstoppable, and His love for you is unchanging. Nothing you've been through, no mistake, no failure, no delay, is bigger than the God who holds your future in His hands. God remembers every tear you've shed. He sees every struggle you face. He knows every prayer you whisper. And even when it seems like nothing is happening, He is working behind the scenes to bring about your breakthrough, your blessing, and your victory. So don't give up. Don't be discouraged. Stand firm in your faith. Trust that God has not forgotten you. And hold on, because your story is far from over. It's just getting started. Let this truth settle deep in your heart. You are seen, you are loved, you are remembered, and God is faithful. Even when it feels like nobody understands what you're going through, you need to know this truth. God sees you. He sees you in your struggles. He sees you in your quiet moments of doubt. He sees the battles you fight in your heart. Life can often feel lonely. You can be surrounded by people and still feel invisible. You can pray and feel like your words are disappearing into the air. You can work hard, give your best, and still feel overlooked. But in the midst of all that, there is a constant, unchanging truth. God sees you. He notices everything about your life, even the things you try to hide. He sees the tears you shed in secret, the prayers you whisper when no one else is listening, and the fears you keep locked away in your heart. Nothing escapes His sight, and nothing is too small or too insignificant for His attention. God's awareness of your life is personal. He doesn't just glance at the world in general. He doesn't watch humanity as a crowd of faces waiting for someone to get it right. He sees you, specifically you as an individual, with all your unique circumstances, strengths, weakness, and dreams. When you feel invisible to others, when you feel like your struggles are too small for anyone to care, God is paying attention. He knows the weight on your shoulders, the pain that keeps you awake at night, the dreams that refuse to die even when everything seems impossible. Nothing about your life is too trivial or too hidden to escape His notice. Sometimes we doubt God sees us because He doesn't always respond in the way we want Him to. We pray for answers, for doors to open, for situations to change, and nothing seems to happen. But seeing is not the same as immediate action. God seeing you doesn't always mean instant solutions or instant comfort. It means He is fully aware of every detail of your life. He watches over you with perfect understanding. He knows your strengths, angst, and your weaknesses, the victories you can handle and the lessons you need to learn. He sees your patience tested, your faith stretched, and your heart sometimes broken, but He never turns His gaze away. The reality that God sees you is also a source of comfort and courage. If you are afraid, anxious, or uncertain about the next steps in your life, remember that you are never alone. When hers overlook you, misunderstand you, or even mistreat you, God's eyes are on you. When the world dismisses you, God's attention is on you. He is aware of your every tear, your every struggle, and your every unspoken prayer. And because He sees you, He is able to act on your behalf in ways that you cannot even imagine. Knowing that God sees you should change the way you live. It should give you teeth. He's strength to persevere when things are hard, to continue to hope when everything around you seems hopeless, and to remain faithful when nobody else is watching. You can live with confidence, not because your life is perfect or because people understand you, but because the Creator of the universe has not forgotten you. His eyes are on you. His love surrounds you. His wisdom guides you, and His power works for you, even when circumstances seem to say otherwise. God's attention also means He understands your needs before you even speak them. He knows the desires of your heart, the goals you are striving toward, and the burdens you carry. Sometimes God allows life to challenge you, not because he doesn't care, but because he is shaping you, teaching you, and preparing you for the blessing he intends to give you. Nothing in your life happens outside of his awareness. He sees every tear, every struggle, and every prayer, and he uses them all to craft a story of hope, resilience, and victory in your life. The key truth to hold on to is this: when you feel overlooked, when you feel forgotten, when the world seems blind to your efforts, remember that God sees you. His eyes are never away from you. He notices your pain, your perseverance, and your faith. He is aware of your quiet victories and your hidden battles. And because he sees you, he is always working in ways that may not be immediately visible, but are perfectly designed to bring about his purposes in your life. When you internalize this truth, it transforms your perspective. It allows you to walk boldly, love freely, and trust fully, knowing that you are never alone. Every step you take, every prayer you pray, every struggle you endure is seen by God, and he will use all of it for your good. You are never invisible. You are never forgotten, and you are never unseen. There are times in life when it feels like everyone has forgotten you. You've prayed, you've tried, you've given your best, and yet the results, haven't come. People have moved on, doors have closed, and circumstances seem to work against you. In these moments, it's easy to feel abandoned or overlooked. But here is a truth that can anchor your soul. God remembers you. He remembers the struggles you've endured, the prayers you've prayed, the sacrifices you've made, and even the dreams that feel too far away to ever reach. Nothing about your life is too small, too ordinary, or too difficult for God to remember. Every detail, every tear, every triumph, and every failure is known to him, and nothing is lost in his memory. When we think about God remembering us, we often imagine it in human terms, like someone recalling a fact or an event. But God's remembrance is not passive or distant. It is active and personal. To remember you means He keeps you in his mind, in his heart, and in his plan. He does not forget the moments that matter to you. He does not forget the promises he has made, the prayers he has heard, or the faith he has witnessed in your life. God remembers you in ways that go beyond human comprehension. He remembers the quiet prayers whispered in the dark, the burdens you have carried in secret, and the struggles that no one else saw. He remembers not only what you have done, but also who you are. And he uses that remembrance to guide you, protect you, and bless you according to his perfect will. God's remembrance is also a promise. It means that your life, your efforts, and your faithfulness are not in vain. Even when things seem delayed, even when it feels like no one sees your labor or understands your journey, God's remembrance assures you that your story matters. He keeps your history, your experiences, and your longings in his mind and heart, and nothing is lost. Every prayer you have prayed, every tear you have shed, and every trial you have endured is held by God and will be used by him for your ultimate good. Your pain is not meaningless, your sacrifices are not unnoticed, and your faith is not overlooked. Sometimes God's remembrance takes the form of timing. There are moments when it feels like he is silent, when prayers seem unanswered and doors seem closed. Yet his remembering is never passive. He remembers the perfect time for your breakthrough, the exact moment when his plan will unfold in your life, and the way he will bring about blessings beyond what you can imagine. God remembers you even when you forget him, even when you doubt, and even when the world fails to acknowledge your worth. His memory is steadfast, unchanging, and full of love. God also remembers in ways that bring restoration. When life has been hard, when circumstances have been unfair, or when you have been treated unjustly, God's remembrance is a source of hope. He remembers the promises he made to you, our ancestors, the lessons he has taught you, and the purpose he has for your life. He remembers to reward your faithfulness, to strengthen your heart, and to turn your trials into testimonies. Because God remembers you, nothing is wasted and no experience is meaningless. Every season of waiting, every moment of perseverance, and every act of faith contributes to the story God is writing in your life. To live with the awareness that God remembers you is to live with confidence and courage. It allows you to face life's challenges with hope, knowing that your story is not over and that your life has eternal significance. It encourages you to continue praying, to continue serving, and to continue believing, even when circumstances seem impossible. When you know that God remembers you, you understand that your life is in His hands, that your struggles have purpose, and that His plan for you is unfolding exactly as it should. God's remembrance also inspires gratitude. It reminds you that you are never forgotten, that your life matters, and that His love is unwavering. It assures you that every tear, every prayer, and every act of faith is precious in His sight, and it gives you courage to keep moving forward, to keep trusting, and to keep hoping. Because a God who remembers you is a God who will act on your behalf. So when you feel overlooked, dismissed, or forgotten by the world, hold on to this truth: God remembers you. Your prayers are known. Your struggles are seen. Your faith is recognized, and your life is meaningful. Nothing is lost, nothing is wasted, and nothing is forgotten in His perfect memory. Every moment matters to Him. Every tear is precious, and every act of faith is treasured. You are remembered, you are loved, and your story is far from finished. Life has a way of testing our patience and faith. There are times when we pray for answers, for doors to open, for situations to change, and yet it seems like nothing is happening. We look around and see no progress, no breakthroughs, no signs of hope. It's easy in those moments to feel forgotten, abandoned, or even defeated. But here is a truth that can anchor your soul. God is always working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. Just because you cannot see His hand at work does not mean He is absent. His plans are unfolding in ways that are often invisible to us, in timing that is perfect. And purposes are greater than anything we could imagine. The truth is, God's work behind the scenes is often more powerful than what we see on the surface. Life can feel like a waiting room full of unanswered prayers, setbacks, and delays, but those moments are not wasted. God is moving pieces, aligning situations, orchestrating events, and preparing people in your favor even while you wait. Just because the outcome is not yet visible does not mean progress is not happening. There is a divine choreography in your life. And even the smallest events or coincidences may be part of a larger plan that you cannot fully understand yet. One of the most challenging aspects of faith is learning to trust what is invisible. We want immediate results, instant answers, and quick solutions, but God often happens in ways that require patience and perseverance. Just like a farmer planting seeds, we may not see the roots growing beneath the surface, but that does not mean growth is not taking place. God is planting seeds of blessing, preparing opportunities, and shaping circumstances in ways that will produce long-lasting fruit. Every delay, every closed door, and every moment of waiting, may be part of His careful preparation for a breakthrough that is greater than anything we could plan for ourselves. God's behind-the-scenes work is also a reminder of His sovereignty. He is not limited by our schedules, our expectations, or our understanding. He is working according to His perfect wisdom, timing, and purposes. Even when things seem chaotic or uncertain, God's hands are still He is moving in ways that we cannot see, protecting us from harm, guiding us toward the right people, opening the doors that need to be opened, and closing the doors that would have led us astray. His work is deliberate, precise, and always aligned with what is best for us, even when it is not immediately apparent. Another aspect of God working behind the scenes is that it often builds character, resilience, and faith in us. The waiting periods, the trials, and the struggles are not meaningless. They are opportunities for us to grow spiritually, to deepen our trust, and to develop endurance. While we may focus on the outcome, God focuses on the process, using every step along the way to shape us into the person we need to become in order to fully embrace the blessings He has prepared. What appears to be a delay may actually be a divine lesson in patience, wisdom, or perseverance. It's also important to understand that God's behind-the-scenes work is completely unseen and sometimes unpredictable. He may be working in ways that we cannot comprehend, connecting people, situations, and events in ways that are far beyond our imagination. He may be orchestrating circumstances to appear ordinary, but will ultimately lead to extraordinary outcomes. What seems like a setback may actually be a setup for something far greater. His work is subtle, yet powerful, quiet, yet transformative. When we realize that God is working behind the scenes, it changes the way we view our circumstances. We stop panicking, stop rushing, and stop doubting. Instead, we begin to trust that E is a purpose, a plan, and a timing that are perfectly aligned with our lives. We begin to understand that no prayer is wasted, no effort is overlooked, and no struggle is meaningless. God is always at work, weaving a story that will ultimately bring glory to Him and blessings to us. This truth gives hope in the darkest moments. When life seems confusing, when prayers seem unanswered, when doors remain closed, remember that God is still moving. He is orchestrating every detail, aligning every event, and preparing every blessing. His work may not be visible, but it is real, powerful, and life-changing. Nothing is beyond His control. Nothing is wasted, and nothing is outside of His plan. Believing that God works behind the scenes allows us to live with patience, confidence, and faith. It reminds us to continue trusting, continue praying, and continue moving forward, knowing that what is unseen is still very much active. We may not understand everything now, but we can rest in the assurance that God is faithful, God is wise, and God is working for our good. Every step, every struggle, and every season of waiting is part of His master plan. So even when it seems like nothing is happening, hold on to the truth. God is working behind the scenes. His timing is perfect. His plan is unfolding, and His power is greater than any circumstance. Trust Him. Stay faithful. And watch as His invisible hand brings about your breakthrough, your blessing, and your victory in ways that will amaze you. Faith is not something we are called to have only when life is easy. True faith is proven the storms, in the moments of uncertainty, and in the times when the world seems to be against us. Standing firm in faith means holding on to God's promises, trusting His timing, and believing in His goodness even when circumstances suggest otherwise. It is not passive. It is active, intentional, and courageous. It is the decision to keep your eyes on God when everything around you seems to be falling apart. To stand firm in faith is to refuse to be shaken by fear, doubt, or discouragement, knowing that God is with you, that He is faithful, and that His plans cannot fail. Life will challenge your faith in countless ways. People may disappoint you. Opportunities may close. Circumstances may be painful or confusing. Sometimes the delay in your breakthrough or the difficulty of your situation can make it feel impossible to keep believing. But the essence of standing firm in faith is not depending on what you see, feel, or understand. It is depending on the one who is unchanging, eternal, and all-powerful. It is choosing to trust God's promises over your perception of reality, knowing that what He says is always true, even when it is not immediately evident. Standing firm in faith requires perseverance. It requires patience when the answers to prayers seem slow in coming. It requires resilience when setbacks threaten to overwhelm you. Faith is not a one-time decision. It is a daily choice to trust, obey, and believe even when the road is hard. Every moment you remain steadfast, you are building spiritual strength. Every act of trust, even when it is difficult, strengthens your relationship with God. Every time you choose to believe His promises over your circumstances, your faith becomes deeper, stronger, and more unshakable. Faith also demands courage. It takes courage to hope when everything seems hopeless, to believe when the world says it is impossible, and to trust when fear and doubt try to take over. Courage is born out of confidence in God's character and His faithfulness. When you understand that God has never failed, that He sees you, remembers you, and works behind the scenes on your behalf, standing firm becomes less about what you feel and more about what you know. Courage allows you to face each day with confidence, knowing that no matter how dark the situation may appear, God's light is shining behind the scenes, ready to bring breakthrough at the right time. Another key element of standing firm in faith is consistency. It is easy to trust God when things are going well, but true faith shows up in the difficult seasons. Being consistent in prayer, in obedience, and in trust demonstrates that your faith is rooted not in circumstances, but in God Himself. Consistency builds endurance. It reminds you and others that your hope is not temporary, your faith is not superficial, and your trust in God is steadfast. Life may bring storms, but a faith that stands firm becomes a testimony of God's power, provision, and fullness. Standing firm in faith also requires surrender. It requires letting go of the need to control every detail of your life and trusting that God's plan is perfect. It means choosing to believe that He is capable of handling what you cannot, that His timing is perfect, and that His purposes are greater than your understanding. When you surrender, your faith becomes a source of peace, strength, and stability. You no longer live in fear or frustration, but in the assurance that God is guiding your steps and orchestrating your life for your good. Faith has the power to transform your perspective. When you stand firm, you begin to see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. You begin to see delays not as disappointments, but as preparation. You begin to see trials not as punishments, but as stepping stones to greater blessings. Standing firm in faith allows you to remain hopeful, optimistic, and courageous, even in the face of adversity. It is a declaration that God is bigger than any problem, stronger than any obstacle, and faithful to fulfill every promise He has made. Finally, standing firm in faith influences others. Your steadfastness can inspire courage and strengthen the faith of those around you. When people see you trusting God despite difficulties, they are reminded that faith is real, powerful, and transformative. Your faith becomes a testimony of God's goodness, a living example of His promises in action, and a source of hope to those who may be struggling to believe. To stand firm in faith is not always easy, but it is always worked. It requires trust, perseverance, courage, consistency, surrender, and a focus on God rather than circumstances. It is a conscious decision to anchor your life in what is eternal, unchanging, and true. When you stand firm, you align yourself with God's power, provision, and promises. You demonstrate that your hope is not in the fleeting things of this world, but in the eternal faithfulness of God. Life can sometimes feel like it has reached a dead end. You may be facing disappointments, setbacks, broken dreams, or unanswered prayers. It may feel as if the story of your life is paused or even coming to an end. But here's a truth that can change everything. Your story is not over. No matter how difficult things seem, no matter how long you have been waiting, God is still writing the next chapter of your life. Every trial you endure, every struggle you face, and every moment of waiting is part of a greater narrative that God is crafting for your good. What may seem like an ending is often just the middle of a story that will lead to triumph, growth, and purpose beyond what you can imagine. The fact that your story is not over means that God still has plans for you. Plans that are greater than your past mistakes, greater than the hardships you face, and greater than the doubts and fears that sometimes cloud your mind. God has a future for you filled with hope, promise, and new opportunities. Even when you feel like you have exhausted every option or reached the limits of your endurance, God is still working, and the next chapter of your life can bring blessings, restoration, and victory that surpass anything you have experienced before. Understanding that your story is not over also gives you perspective. Life may have brought you pain, loss, or disappointment, but those moments are not the final word. They are chapters, not the conclusion. Every setback is temporary, every delay is part of preparation, and every failure is a lesson that shapes your character and strengthens your faith. God can take your struggles and transform them into testimonies, your losses into lessons, and your waiting into wisdom. Nothing you have gone through is wasted. Nothing in your past can prevent God from using you in powerful ways. Your story is not over because God's power is greater than any circumstance. When life seems impossible, God can create possibilities. When hope seems lost, He can restore joy. When doors seem closed, He can open new ones. He is the author of your life, and He alone knows the ending. Even when you cannot see the way forward, He is moving, guiding, and orchestrating events to bring about His plan. This gives you the courage to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep trusting that what is ahead is far greater than what is behind you. Recognizing that your story is not over also inspires resilience. Life will challenge you, and the road may be difficult, but the knowledge that God is still at work empowers you to persevere. You are not defined by your failures, your setbacks, or the opinions of others. You are defined by the God who is writing your story, a God whose plans for you are good and whose faithfulness is unwavering. Every trial you endure is not the end. It is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the blessings that await. Your story is also not over because God has a purpose for why. Our life that cannot be stopped.